Hello there, everyone. Welcome to a Big Witch Energy special, where we are going to tell the story of Revolution Part 2 as it was never intended through the lens of dinosaur nuggets. Enjoy.
We start our scene with Gregorio, Sterling, Petra, and Anacostia talking. We do not know what they say because we don't remember and we're too lazy to write it down. And then they start singing what is it?
Subsonically.
Subsonically. To summon the tornado. Ready? And then the people go, shoo! and then, hold on. You just like forget about the tornado. Well, this is not going well. Then Anacostia goes, shka! And you guys, yeah! And then the truck, boom! And then, hold on.
This is Sterling.
And this is Anacostia with the truck. No, yeah.
Cry!
But Bree, he is Sterling.
It's fine. Just be Sterling.
Sorry, you be Sterling. I'm Gregorio. I forgot. I'm just looking over here.
We're doing great. Yeah, so this is Anacostia with the truck. And you cry. And then Petra. Who has Petra? You have Petra too.
We gotta get the fuck out of here. Leave her, Sterling. Leave her. Let's go.
And then
cannibalism. It's not scripted.
No, this was the truck. This was a macaroni and cheese bite. The next scene, Abigail and Tally fight off the assholes.
I'm not involved.
Where's my Tally? Anacostia hit Tally.
I'm Abigail.
Off screen.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Abigail. This is Abigail.
And now we're gonna fight with the scourges. And then Raylla makes a hole in the wall.
Oh, I make a hole in the wall.
And then she yells for the other two to join.
Yes! Come join us. There's a portal to another dimension.
Was that Raylla? Well, who else could it be?
Tally, we gotta go, girl.
But Gregorio, my love, that I just met in the last episode again.
No, let's go.
All right, let's go into the hole. This was exactly what I saw in my vision.
Exactly.
But for real?
Yeah. Tally would never lie, Raylla.
I am better than all of you.
No, bitch. I'm in charge. Destiny, etc.
Bitch, you think you're in charge.
Okay, sounds great, Tal.
Whoa.
Unity, you don't care about any of us.
Okay, now it's just you two having therapy with Tally and Abigail. And poor Raylla's just laying there.
In her golden
That
light.
That was her role this season.
It was. Laying there.
My hands are so messy right now. All right. Tally tells Raylla that everything in this season... Oh, okay.
We just did that, didn't we?
No,
we
you're laying down. And so Abigail is, like, dying on the side.
Oh, she's fine. Adil's dying.
Fine. Adil's dying.
Here's the doormat.
Yeah. Whatever.
Doormat.
Yeah. You guys are together. Raylla, I figured it out. None of the season actually mattered. It was us all along.
Okay, sounds good, Tal.
Whatever, Tally.
Abigail says no. Abigail says, I don't want... It's like, get over it, Abigail. This is what's happening. You're gonna love it.
Dramatic grasp. Fine, Tally.
Unity.
Okay, sounds good, Tal.
I'm going back to my doormat.
It's happening.
Alder runs in with
That's
Kalita, Newton, Sheep Dude.
Stewards.
Yeah, that's the stewards. Hold on, who am I? I'm Newton. Newton's running in with them.
Here's the shepherd. He's gone now. Hi.
Alder tells Abigail she is annoyingly special.
You special.
Gee, thanks. I know.
You gonna sing the song, girl. You know the song even though you don't know the song because the song is in you from Jim. Jim put the song in you.
What? Oh, well, I guess I'll just sing it or whatever when the time comes, because destiny, etc.
Yeah, that's right, destiny. Trust the mother, trust the mother, trust the mother.
Wait, aren't we important? Shut up, sheep herder. It's my time to shine. It's scary.
Tao, it's time.
Dun, da, da, da.
That was me.
Yeah, no, I know, but you gotta say it.
Okay. Tell, it's time! No, I mean, it's really time. Get the fuck away from me! Stop talking!
But, okay, I get it. I got it. But, like, it's the three of us. The three of us, we're gonna get through this together.
Get away from me!
Oh, okay, it's time. All right, bye. All right, let's sing. Raylla explodes. And it explodes into the air.
Am I doing this right, Jim? What the fuck?
Oh my god, there's so much stuff. All right, you guys can stop. It already exploded into the universe.
Thanks, sheep herder, for nothing.
All right, ready for the last line?
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
No, it can do it better.
No, we can't.
Hasemiava.
Hasemiava.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hasemiava. Oh, okay. I'll pause because I think you guys are a little delayed. 3, 2, 1. Hasemiava.
We did it. I mean, I did it. You guys were just kind of there or whatever.
But Abigail,
You.
really?
Raylla.
Listen, I was the one that sent the first song around the entire world. All you did was sing, bitch.
Listen, Alder said goddess singular. She meant me, obviously.
Goddesses. I'm the one that cares about everyone.
That is not what I heard.
No, I keep everybody together. I am the glue.
Listen, Scylla saves everyone's asses, so really it's Scylla.
Then why isn't she on this helicopter, Raylla, if she's so important?
Because you guys, you suck, Abigail, and you've never liked her.
Facts. Spoken from the goddess.
No.
Are we done?
Maybe I should have walked out in the beginning.
Okay, Adil.
Adil is a doormat. We all know this.
Yeah, but you said, okay, I'm going to eat Abigail now. And I said, okay, Adil.
And scene. Elliot would be horrified. Welcome back, everyone. We made it to the finale.
Sort of. I mean, we're kind of here.
We're here.
Yeah, we had a little delay to get here. None of us were okay for a hot minute. But
how are you guys doing?
Yeah, how is everyone? Tell us.
Did you get everything you wanted?
That's not a question. That's a very loaded question.
That's why I asked it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. All right, well, it's season 3's over.
Season 3 has concluded, and we finally got our revolution part 2.
But was it really a revolution?
I mean, it was. It was.
Okay, well, here we are. Confusion. All right.
I mean,
I guess
With any world building stuff that's been condensed from 7 seasons to 3, there's gonna be confusion.
I feel bad that we don't have they had to smush everything because of the time constraint, and it sucks. We deserve more seasons. Period. End of sentence.
That is the theme of Sapphic Media in the year of our not Lord, Lesbian Jesus, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, this one was written by Elliot.
Yes, so I love that the same team that did Revolution Part 1 did Revolution Part 2, and the same exact team that started Season 3 got to bookend. So yeah, this episode was written by Elliot, which is only fitting. This was his brainchild, so he wrote the finale, and then the director was the amazing Amanda Tapping. So I'm really glad that they got to bookend the season and then tell both Revolution stories. How does Revolution Part 2 start? Well, it starts in the woods, where the core 4 and the doormat are, like, running around in the woods, and, like, you hear helicopters overhead, so, like, things are starting after Raylla's vampire audition at the end of the last episode. And turning into a vampire is really straining on Raylla. She's, like, struggling to, like, stand and stay conscious, but won't admit it. She's like, I'm fine. And Scylla's like, bitch, you're not fine. Like, pulling my wife card. Sit down against this tree. And so she does to take a breather, and like everybody stops at that point. And then out of nowhere, Petra, Anacostia, and Sterling appear because they were also in a different part of the woods, I guess. And Petra's like, listen, things are happening. The capital, DC, it's crawling with Camarilla, which is where our precious Wade is. So we got to get her the fuck out of there. She's going to the session with Thelma, who's going to keep her safe. And she fills them in on basically what happened at the end of the last episode, the fall of Fort Salem. And there's half the army's not there yet. So the Camarillas concentrated by the mycelium because that's been their target the whole season. So they're like, we got to go there. And the core force then starts debating about whether or not they're all going to join because Raylla is like dying, even though she won't admit it. But at the end, they're just like, we need to stick together because unity, and we got to see this mission through the end. And so they all decide to go do that. And the whole scene, I have to note, Adil says nothing because he's the doormat and he just goes wherever Abigail goes. He has no opinion on any of this. End of scene.
At least Scylla gets lines as this other spouse.
Mm-hmm. Scylla barely had lines, but yeah.
She barely had lines. Her job in this entire episode was to be Raylla's wife.
I mean, that's Scylla's plot the whole season. Like, Scylla was... Yeah. It's annoying because Scylla was set up in season 2 with Morrigan's Whisper to be, like, this big, like, battle changer, and then her job this whole season was, like, to either be the stand-in for Raylla when Raylla wasn't there, to remind the audience why Raylla's not there, and then when Raylla's there, she's just Raylla's support system. That's it. Scylla had no autonomy this season, except for, like, a scene with Papa Collar. It's very upsetting. But she gets more autonomy than Adil, who was literally pointless this whole season. So...
At least she had her dead animal friends.
There's that.
Yeah, let's go on over to Isidora. Woo! I have questions. I have one question in this scene that repeated in my head the entire time I was watching it for the first time. Are you okay, girl? That's all.
Oh, she's doing great. Oh, man. Yeah. I love this scene.
I love this scene a lot. Like, it's like one of my favorite scenes in this entire episode. Hi, she's alive, everybody. But we kind of knew she would be just because she's Isidora and stuff. But, yeah, Isidora wakes up and she sees Penelope being held in the distillery, is what I call it, where previously she had been distilled by Isidora, and also poofs away sometimes. So someone comes up, a goon comes up and sedates Isidora, or gives her some kind of drug, I'm guessing a sedative, and then she asks Albin what he's doing with Penelope, and he says, admiring your work. creepily. So this is the meeting of the two mad scientists. One of them mad in a good way, and the other one mad in all the wrong ways. He goes down to where Penelope is and taps on the glass like she's an animal in a cage, because to him she is just an experiment, something, not a human. Never was a human, just something for him to play with. He taunts her and she dematerializes into the container that is attached to the side of her little distillery. He tells a goon to take the container off to an off-site facility, and then he comes back to taunt Isidora by asking about the mother and saying, "Do you think she'll pop or shrivel?" I was like, don't fuck with Isidora. She's so much cooler than you and much more badass. She says there's only one thing you need to know, followed by maniacal laughter. Props to Emily for this entire scene.
Literally give her an award for her mad scientist laugh, because it was so good. It creeped out Albin, which is a high compliment.
Yeah, if you're creeping Albin out and making him doubt things, you're powerful.
You got it. It was good job, Emily. That was amazing.
Yes. And so the one thing that he needs to know about the mother is that she's going to kill you all, and that's followed by more mad scientist maniacal laughter, which spooks the shit out of Albin. And then he tells them to give her more of whatever drug. And for a second, it kind of phases her, but then she goes back to her laughing, and it's masterful. The actual masterful, not the kind that Albin's going to say later in the episode.
Yeah, hell yeah. And you gotta love...
I love this woman.
You gotta love her fighting spirit, too, because, like, assuming it was a sedative, like, who knows what that really was. Like, she was, like, going out of her normal consciousness, but was still, like, retaining her pettiness, and I love that for her.
We love a petty-ass mad scientist queen.
Ooh, we sure do. Speaking of queens, we're going to shoot on over to another part of the world. We're going to Elmina, Ghana, according to the title card, and we get this establishing shot of a fort, or like this very fortified looking building that's like on the coast. So there's like waves pushing against its palm trees, like kind of a hazy bunch of clouds that come into play later. And then we cut inside this building and we find Alder wading through a public market, like she's following a tune, like she's listening intently. She hears this, what sounds like the piece of the first song she's looking for. And she looks out the window and onto the ocean and starts seeing these clouds forming this like circular spirally looking thing. So she's like, okay, cool. The first song is here. See them clouds. I need to investigate. But before she can, there's this explosion. Sure.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
I know. Was this necessary? There's an explosion at the entrance of the... This is a public market where people come to get groceries and trade and do whatever. And then the Ghana military is like, fuck you, and blows up the entrance that was already open. So I don't understand this. I think it's just for drama. And chaos obviously ensues because it's just like normal people doing life in there. And so they start fleeing and Alder's trying to assess what's going on, and then the Ghana witch army or military-looking officials come in, like, doing their song. They're like, yeah, we did this, bitch. And we heard you were back, Alder. General Alder. Because to them, they're like, okay, General Alder, obviously infamous in military circles for hundreds of years, and she's in their land unannounced. So they're like, great, America's invading us because America does this shit all the time. Cool, you guys can't be trusted. So they're like on the defensive, like, which makes sense. But Alder's like trying to explain, like, no, I'm here on Alder business. It has nothing to do with the military. Like, I'm just here doing me. But the guys, they're not having it because they see the storm outside. They're like, is that you? What the fuck? Like, why are you here? And Alder gets back into a corner and they're like, here you are, Alder, spouting all these lies. And she finds some mold growing on a wall from a leaky pipe. And then she's like, gets all smug and she's like, am I though? Am I here? And touches the wall and then disappears into the mycelium, which freaks everybody the fuck out. And side note, this dude that was watching her, the one that like corralled her into this corner, is going to remember this shit forever because the look on his face was like pure trauma. Like he was traumatized by whatever just happened here. So I'm wondering at the end of the show, one of two things has to come of this whole scene because Ghana is now like, what the fuck was this army general doing in our fort? So political ramifications from Alder's actions. Or two, like they see what she just did with this mycelial work, and then they're like, oh, cool, can we evaporate into magical mushrooms and pop up wherever the fuck we want? And so they now have a new thing in their arsenal work-wise if they could figure out how to replicate this. So there's that. Thanks, Alder.
America, barging into situations they're not supposed to be in since forever.
Yep. Whole scene was justified.
Well, not America, just Merca. There's a difference.
I don't really understand this scene because we figure out the origin of the song later. So why the hell was it being sung here? And
I don't understand.
Why was there a storm? Who was sick? No one was singing this that was alive. So I don't understand this scene. Unless Alder Alder was like, it was like, you know how Tally has like visions? Like, I wonder if this was like the mycelium in real time giving her like a vision of the past. And maybe that's how she got here. She's like following the song through like mycelial memory. And there's
can we explain that?
No, we can't explain anything. You can explain it by being like, magic exists.
All right.
But yeah, maybe that was it. And so she was kind of like following that trail. So like when the originator of this song was in Ghana doing this magic, she was following like a memory trail maybe and like was hallucinating. That's all I got. Because it doesn't make sense. But then he saw it. So it doesn't make any sense actually. What was going on here?
Nope.
But okay. But sure.
It works, I guess.
It doesn't.
All right. Back to Fort Salem. Hydrate for Fort Salem. Except not, because that's coffee. So the core 4 plus Greg are going to the... Wait. I'm sorry. Doormat.
Wow, are you on a Greg name basis with...
Yeah, I am. Greg and I are on a first name basis. A shortened nickname basis, shall I say. So they're all going to the necro facility, but they need some scourges first. So off to the training room. Anacostia stops them before they can really depart and gives them a pep talk about how they're the perfect combo and tells them never to forget what they built. And also, as an aside, take care of this one, meaning Scylla. That's all she gets. Scylla hugs Anacostia, and then the unit follows suit because, you know, it's not normal for them to hug Anacostia, and Scylla's just like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna hug Anacostia. So, there you have it.
Yeah, and you knew shit was going down when they specifically paused to do this, and the only person we hug is Anacostia.
Correct.
Literally nobody else gets a hug.
No, not the Petra, no.
Foreshadowing. So we go from that heavily implied foreshadowing scene to the core 4 getting dressed in army uniforms and getting scourges in the locker room. And they have locker room talk as per their setting, where Scylla and Abigail tease Tally about Greg, aka Gregorio. And Thirsty Tally has no shame about this, as she shouldn't, because whatever. And she's like, hey, I got to charge up before battle. Like, sue me. It's a witch thing. So good for you, Tally. But she isn't the only one, apparently. Apparently all the married couples were off screen having marital sexcapades. So, and Scylla Big Witch Energy Ramshorn confirms all this by saying, wives make time for such things. So hydrate for Lesbian Jesus and her marital fucking. There you go.
I love that line. It could have been weird, but the way Scylla said it, or the way Amalia said it, was perfect. So yay.
And after all the locker room bragging, the boys come back, and Adil finally has a line where he mentions the guards are back, and him and Gregorio were off screen strategizing what to do while the girls were having talk about their fucking.
Sex lives.
So gotta love the gender role reversal of like what was going on in the locker rooms, because I love that. So
thank you, Elliot.
Yes, thank you, Elliot, for sprinkling that in. That's one aspect of the show that's so great, and it was kind of like missed this season with all like the shenanigans. So the boys off screen were planning like how best to get to Isidora's office while avoiding all these guards, and the plan is to take a staircase that's close to Isidora's office. So they're like, cool, break. And then Greg and Tally have this cute little moment. And he basically says, I'm not coming with you down the staircase. I have to go join Anacostia for plot reasons. And so they part. And then Abigail eyes Tally as this is happening, like she's going to give her shit about her crush later. So that's fun.
Yes. I like it. Although the part I don't like is that Gregorio and Tally have more moments in this episode than Raylla and Scylla.
I mean, Raylla and Scylla had a whole ass wedding. They had a ton of stuff this season compared to Tally and Gregorio. So they had to fit in Tally Gregorio moments here because there's like 2 episodes
yes,
where there's
they
Tally
did.
Gregorio moments.
But I still go back to them not making it, him. I know why, but him just popping up just all of a sudden, and then the things and the one episode, and then the canon couple that should have, it's just a thing. It's my own nitpicky thing. But
Yeah, fair enough.
On the stairs, Abigail, meaning Abigail and Adil, are having banter about their honeymoon as they're fighting Camarilla in their quest to get to the Necro Lab. They decide that they're going to go to the beach because Adil's never seen the ocean. So they clear the way with scourges. Yes. They were very cute this episode when they did get to actually speak to one another.
Yeah, they were speaking to each other, not Abigail like telling Adil what to do. This was an actual conversation they had.
It was. They were a partnership.
Exactly.
They clear the way with scourges and proceed down the stairs. Meanwhile, the Camagoons, as I've now been calling them, are planting bombs in the ground elsewhere. We don't know what they're for. We just know that they armed them.
Yeah, and it's like that white, it's like white colored whatever's in the canister, which is like the same color as what they were injecting Isidora with. So I wasn't sure if like they were giving her the same medicine. Or not medicine, whatever this is, as the mycelium, but I don't know. Just pointing that out. So while that's happening, we cut over to a different part of Fort Salem where we meet up with Anacostia, Gregorio, Sterling, and Petra, and they're behind a wall watching, spying on the Camarilla. And basically they have their like Camarilla army, the one we saw in the stadium through Sterling and Anacostia snooping. They're now here at Fort Salem, and they're like lined up in formation in front of their like Humvees and stuff, like waiting for orders. So the gang is like, okay, they're just chilling. We need to like take as many of them out as possible before they can mobilize and they get their orders. So they ultimately decide to summon a storm subsonically. So like they can't hear, they won't know what's coming. It comes overhead, like perfect, good deal. So they start doing it. And while they're doing this, they decide, without speaking, to walk in front of the protective barrier and, like, stand there, which... What? Sure.
Puts them in full view.
Not that. Like, I mean, they were staring at the sky. They could have done that from behind the wall barricade that were there. And they're like, let's stand around it and, like, make ourselves exposed. So, we had to do this for plot reasons, because if you watch the After the Storm... you know that one of the characters contractually kind of had to get out of their contract because of another role they got. So they were facilitating this happening. And plus, it's like a war, and you have to have a character death, and it has to be somebody people care about. So hence the scene. So anyway, what they do is they step out and expose themselves. And then this sharp-looking tornado comes from the heavens and like strikes the army that's just chilling, and it causes chaos. And as we won't see Caitlin, but that's Caitlin showing. But basically, so the Camarilla guys get like flung willy-nilly everywhere, and the trucks are getting disrupted, and they start running, and it looks like it's working. But then some of the guys like on the far end of the formation like kind of get it together after a second, and he starts like slapping his armor, and after a second he, I guess, triggers a button and it cuts out all the sound. So like sound department like takes all the sound out so you feel what the characters are feeling, which is really cool. And that stops the work because the work was vocal, and no one knows what to do. But I guess whatever technology isn't perfect because this isn't a world with great technology to begin with. And the thing glitches. And so sound comes back. We hear the glitch by hearing sound again. And while the sound comes back, like Anacostia is like witnessing a truck like from the storm being hurled towards all of them. So she has a split second to like essentially save herself or save her comrades because she's like separated from them because plot reasons. And so she's like, I'm Anacostia, I'm going to save them. And she wind strikes Sterling, Petra, and Gregorio off to safety, and she gets squished by the truck, and it takes out Mamacostia. So it's very, very sad because we no longer have Mamacostia, but she goes out a hero, like very much in character. And this breaks Sterling because that was his lady love, and he like runs over to her and starts sobbing and like can't believe it. He's like, come on, get up, like you're fine. And Petra is the one that has to like hold it together and be like, listen, like there's still an army right there. I get this is really sad, but like we're in the middle of battle. Like I'm really sorry. You have to compartmentalize. We have to get out of here. Like that's what she would have wanted. She like, don't let her die in vain. Like we have to keep fighting. And reluctantly, like they all kind of leave and like scurry off. So this was the big scene of the downfall of Anacostia, but this was a creative choice due to Demetrius' schedule, and it is very, very sad. But honestly, it's an honorable way that like for Anacostia, the character, it makes sense for her how she was taken out by like being fierce Mamacostia. She was saving the people she loved. So while it's sad, it's very in character ending.
I only have one note for this scene, and it's cries over Mamacostia. That's it. It's very sad.
It's very sad.
Then we're going to go back to the Core 4 Plus in the tunnels. We get to they're running along, taking out a few goons as they go. Well, some of them are. Others are propping up their wife. And they meet up with Greg, who tells them about the new tech, aka the silencing technology that the Khemri have come up with. They rush off as a whole slew of more goons come at them from another corridor, and notably, Greg makes everyone go first, and he follows behind.
Yep, so we're moving. We're getting to Isidora.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. So while they're doing that in the tunnels of Fort Salem, we shoot on over to Kingston, Jamaica. We're just globe hopping at this point. And we're there because Alder is in the National Library of Jamaica getting her hooked on phonics on. And while she's reading this ancient text, an even more ancient, old-timey voice tells us what Alder's reading. So I guess Alder, when she reads, her inner monologues are like old-timey people, which good for you, Alder. What a fun way to read. The book she's reading tells us about a 19-year-old woman who chills people to the bone and was some kind of witch. And the woman was in Ghana at one point, which is where Alder just was, like here in the first song. But the woman was sold into slavery and shipped to the Americas, because America sucks, and ended up in Virginia. And while Alder reads this passage, she has this oh shit moment. I need to fucking go back to America. I've just said fucking America. This is bullshit. And then we hard cut away from Alder having her epiphany to this fly ass looking librarian who's like, Mom, I got the book you wanted. And then looks, and Alder just like witch mic dropped before this poor woman. So this woman was in the library searching who knows how long for these dusty books that Alder requested. Comes back with this book, and it's like, I got the book, and then the bitch is gone. So Alder, respect the librarian's time, girl. That was fucked up.
It was.
It was.
I didn't appreciate it myself. Come on, Alder.
But she was super cool.
We love a librarian.
We do. Respect your librarians, especially now when they're being shit on. How dare you, Alder?
Exactly. Come. The only thing I was thinking during this was how gross the stuff that was written by the slave owner was.
Everything about slavery is gross.
It is. But yes, also respect your librarian. We're going to go back to Fort Salem. They're trying to get Raylla closer to the mycelial chamber. As they end up in Isidora's office, the goons turn on their silencing tech, and Albin begins to pontificate through the silencing tech and teases Raylla about how she's not looking that great before they set off the fungicide bombs. Because that's what the goons were planting in the earth, apparently. Raylla and Alder are both affected, and Adil and Scylla get hit with the poison witch bomb that comes out of Raylla. It's just a little one, and it, for plot reasons, hits Adil and Scylla. The silencing tech fails, and Albin biffs off, as he always does when he doesn't have the advantage. Tally and Abigail take out the rest of the goons for the moment. Scylla, Adil, and Raylla just writhe on the floor in pain. We have a kind of a nice shot of Raylla and Scylla from above, being like yin and yang, trying to not die. But Tally wants to know where Greg is. And here's where Caitlin has inserted herself in my notes this time.
I'm waiting for it.
She says, "Forget Greg, Tally." That's all. I'm surprised there's not more Caitlin in my notes this time.
I was busy editing a part of the thing to send to Jess.
Okay, fine. Yes. Anyway.
Also, I have no idea what happened.
That's the end of this scene.
Don't worry, Caitlin. Tally's lady love is working her way back. So, which is where we go next. So we go check in on Alder, who has like corporealized in the woods. And she's like totally out of breath when she's like back in her human form, which I guess is an indicator of the mycelial thing's health, because it's almost like that took a lot of effort, not only for like the mycelium to manifest her, but for like Alder to like exist. So there you have it. When she catches her breath, we find that she arrived to some kind of super fancy property with neglected looking gate that's covered in ivy. And she checks the placard on the gate post, which we don't get to see in the show, but we do see what it says in the After the Storm, and it just says Bellwether in capital letters. And so I assume this is the plantation in Virginia, the witch was sold to, that she read in that book. And then Alder's like, cool, this is the place, and just like lets herself into this property and starts like exploring. And that's the scene.
And that's the scene. Guess what? Back to Fort Salem, where the goons have all gotten up, and Tally and Abigail are holding them off while Scylla and Adil get Raylla to the chamber. They defeat them and then talk about the possibilities of everyone dying and how this doesn't make sense. And I say word. Greg shows up again, and he and Tally share kisses. And I say, okay, but why can't Raylla have kisses? Just saying. Then more goons descend with silencing tech, and we cut away. But hey, guess what? Guess who's coming to town? Theora's happy about it.
Yes.
They're losing this battle, but Nicta's bats come in and reveal Nicta right in the middle of a bat tornado, which is pretty damn cool. Wade sent her, so she's been working with Wade. Tally hugs Nicta. Oh wait, this is a Caitlin special. Tally hugs Nicta because she can't kiss her in front of Gregorio.
Yes, cosign.
My last note here on this scene is that they're trapped.
I had a question about Nicta's entrance. Like, did she just physically enter the base, or did she corporealize through the bats?
She corporealized through the bats.
So that's what I thought. So when did this happen?
Off screen.
Right.
It's what Nicta was doing off screen.
Yeah, like it's interesting that like you have Alder who can just like transport and corporealize through the mycelium, and then Nicta figured out a way to do it without the mother through bats.
Nicta's a vampire, just not the kind Raylla is.
Nicta's a hot vampire. Mm-hmm. But interesting. So, I mean, going forward in the world of Motherland, I guess there's multiple ways that witches can just transport themselves places, which is interesting, like from a story, like a world building perspective, like new witch technology kind of thing.
Yeah. Can Scylla do it with crows?
That's the question. Like, I mean, basically what Nicta's work is basically with the bats is essentially what Morgan's Whisper really is. It's just like an offshoot of the same thing. So I assume Scylla can figure out how to do it with her flying animals.
There we have it.
So is that the new fuck the bat, like the helicopter bats? We don't need that shit. We're just gonna use bats and just transport people places going forward.
When they say, "Oh, we arrived by bat," they really mean it.
Exactly. Like that takes on a new meaning. Exactly. So there's a lot of cool little like nuggets of like what ifs kind of let Elliot sprinkle throughout this episode. That's kind of fun to think about for the like world building and implications for the future. So that was one of them for me. Like, I feel like that's going to get weaponized, what Nicta just did. So, all right. So while Nicta's saving everybody's ass in the other room, we shoot into the mycelium room where Raylla, Scylla, and Adil are dying in front of the mother. And like Raylla's the first one to come to, and just she looks like hell. She has basically like this like Harry Potter scar looking thing on her face that's like pulsing purple. But she manages to stand up and like stumbles over to the mycelium, and then she sings the death cap seed. Which, side note, the origins of this are never explained. So I'm sticking with my OG theory that Scylla Big Witch Energy Randstorm just casually invented this so she can save everybody's ass, because that's what this does, and it's on brand for Scylla. And this time, when Raylla sings the death cap seed, instead of like witches like grabbing onto Raylla and pulling her into the mycelium, which is what we've seen happen, the mycelium creates this like portal inside the mycelium, like a tunnel. And Raylla's like, that's not weird at all. Everybody, let's go through this portal. It's not weird or scary. Let's go. So Abigail and Tally hear this in the other room, but they're like still kicking ass at the moment. So Nicta steps in and she's like, listen, me and Gregorio, who has no say in this, we'll take care of these fuckers. So you guys can escape. And they do. Abigail and Tally run into the portal room while Nicta uses her bats to kill those bitches because it's Nicta. She's like, I love that she's like, me and Gregorio, and then she's like, I don't need Gregorio. I'm just going to use my bats. Gregorio doesn't have a line or a fight in this thing. He just stands there. So Gregorio really could have gone in there with them, but whatever.
Well, my takeaway is Nicta's hot, and I guess they're going into the hole.
That is always the take me to the hole. To those who know where that's from, my heart goes out to
you. All right. So, in the hole, they walk along the path that the mycelium has created for them. It almost looks like vines, but it's just mycelial fibers, I guess, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, a mycelium is basically like, if you look at it under a microscope, it's like all these little tendril-looking things, but we call them hyphae. So it's just like, it's almost like they got like put inside a actual mycelium, but like they are like much smaller than like what the actual mycelium looks like. So everything's like bigger. So it just looks like what a hyphae would look like if you were microscopic enough to be in it.
A giant hyphae.
Yeah.
So, they walk along this path, and it's massive, like a cave with a raised bed in the middle, as you do. And this is what Tally saw in her vision. Great. Scylla and Adil collapse because reasons, and gotta torture Scylla and Raylla some more, so why not? Raylla says she can help them and tries her fixer work, but it doesn't do anything, and she starts freaking out and yells for Tally to help. Tally has no idea because, according to Caitlin, contrary to popular belief, Tally doesn't have all the answers. She's still a human and has her own stuff going on, too. People keep forgetting that.
I have a question about this, though. Why didn't Raylla's work here? Was it because she's being poisoned? Like the mycelium is being poisoned? Or like, is it like witch's work doesn't work inside the mycelium? Only like mycelium work works in here?
No, because it works later.
Does it? Because later, Raylla uses the mycelium to heal them. Like she does her...
But she said the words, too.
No, I know, but she's harnessing the mycelium. Like, whereas now she's just trying to heal them on her own without the mycelium by like...
Maybe, I don't know.
I couldn't figure this out. Like, why suddenly it's not working?
Plot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we don't know. That's the answer. Raylla's screaming that Scylla's gonna die, and I got super concerned. Not really. Tally asks Alder if she can hear her and screams Alder's name while the couples cry and writhe on the ground. Everyone basically has a panic attack, according to Caitlin. All right.
So there, I saw there's like a bunch of questions going out around there, like in the social media world about like what the hell is going on with Adil and Scylla, like why this was happening to them. And so I don't think we really touch on it. So just like to touch on it, basically, because I think what's happening here is like the mycelium obviously is the whole season. The plot was like to poison it, to like kill it. And I think now the Camarilla is figured out a way to do that more innocuously, the poison. So it seems like the fungicide or whatever they're doing is like different than what they were originally using to poison the mycelium. Because before we just saw it dying and like Raylla was just like, she couldn't move. She's like almost incapacitated in a way. And now it's almost like a slower poisoning kind of thing. And so earlier they got hit with mycelium spores. Like you can see on their face, they have some of that purple stuff, almost like burning their face a little bit, whereas Raylla has that like Harry Potter spider looking scar. So they're all being poisoned in a way, but Raylla seems more like able to, I don't know, stay conscious or like withstand it. And maybe that's because she has some degree of immunity to this because she went through a poisoning already. Whereas Adil and Scylla have never had to deal with the mycelium like this before, and plus it's being poisoned. So like they are just like out of it basically. So that's what's going on here. And then Raylla's magic ? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Like
my only thought was like that Raylla is connected to the mycelium and they're not. So
right.
That's the only thing I could come up with. Though the mycelium said they couldn't heal her, I imagine it since she's inside of the mycelium, she still has a certain amount of its power in her to withstand more than they would, since they are not at all connected to it in a physical way.
Yeah.
So that's my theory on it. I agree with you.
And I assume the rules of what magic works and what doesn't is part of the mother's plan kind of thing, where it's like, your magic can't work, only the magic I need to works in here, which is why the first song works. So that's that, in case you were wondering what was going on with Adil and Scylla, because I saw confusion there. So we leave that scene and we go to a super gross scene where a Silver, Albin, and Fox News took over one of the offices in the on base for a bigoted recording, as one does. And Kara isn't there for some reasons, but we don't give a fuck, so we're not going to speculate why. And Silver's going on in the scene about how the fact that Wade is dead or like returned from the dead is all fake news. And he should know because they were friends and he buried her and like blah, 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 blah. And during this nonsense, Sterling shows up in disguise in one of those red, angry white citizens outfits. And he goes over to Isidora, who's like in the corner by the drink cart, because sure. And he basically like points out, he's like, hey, the canister at Penelope is right here. So do your thing, Necro Queen, and make him pay.
We're here for it.
Mm-hmm. Sure are.
Isidora's revenge. / Penelope's revenge.
Yes, Penelope's revenge.
I will speculate on Carr very quickly. I figure it's a scheduling conflict or a time constraint. That's all.
Yep,
That's
we don't need her.
That's the amount of my caring. Back to the core for an Adil in the mycelium hole. Adil tells Abigail, because she has connected to him and linked with him to try to keep him alive. And Adil tells Abigail to break the link. But she says, and I think this scene is super cute. She says, I've got you, husband. I love that line, Ashley. You're so good. You made me tear up.
Very sweet.
She pretty much gives him an order because she's Abigail. She's like, you're staying alive. I'm not crying. You're crying. This is my other note here. Raylla says Raylla's talking to Scylla on the other side, so we've got couples time here. Raylla says that they should have stayed at the lighthouse. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, that would have been...
fandom agrees with that statement.
Yeah, exactly. Scylla says this isn't so bad, and I'm like, compared to what? You're in the giant mycelium hole, and everyone's dying. But she's just trying to be, Scylla. Okay, Caitlin. I just saw your note. She added on to my thing where I'm like, compared to what? And she says, compared to being strung up with rocks flying at you. True. I mean, she did have that. Raylla wants to know why she was chosen by the mycelium. And Scylla says, oh, that's simple. You're the only one strong enough to bear it all. All right.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's just what Scylla has to tell her, Because I really think that there were other people that could, whatever. Moving on.
Yeah, I know. This line was so weird from Elliot. I was like, sure. We don't have time to get into this, so here's the line that explains everything.
I get it from a Scylla trying to comfort Raylla, and she really does think Raylla is like the strongest because that's her wifey, and they're in love.
There you go.
I think Scylla could have done it too, but hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Miss I withstand torture.
Yeah. Sure. That's why I don't think this line really explains anything
like,
from Elliot's perspective.
It doesn't. It only explains through a lover's perspective, shall we say.
Sure.
So the raised table rail is laying on, lights up and causes them pain. Rails in her light. Tally comes over to say that she's figured it all out, apparently. I don't know how, but she did. Everyone has always said that we've had this big destiny. This is from Tally. It's about the three of us and how we change what's going to happen, not how we prevent it. And Rael's line is, sounds good, Tal. And then Tally says, the mother wouldn't bring us this far. Would she? And there's your little spark of doubt. Cut to commercial.
Gotta have those commercials.
Yep. Every 2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes. I do want to point out in this scene, like when you get this is when you first get the imagery of Raylla in this scene of her as the sun god Jesus, because there's like a golden globe beneath her, and she's the only one on a raised platform with a golden globe beneath her. So this is the Jesus imagery for Raylla's character. It's very
I dread for Lesbian Jesus.
Yes.
Elizu Izina Yesu Uvu.
Yes. Thank you, Jesse and David, for translating our tagline into Menashe.
So, meanwhile, in Virginia, Alder is doing some breaking and entering into that plantation home. And inside, she finds an old dusty book that talks about the witch from Ghana on like the first page she opens to very conveniently. And during this scene, we get Alder's sexier oldie-timey like voice narrating because it's a woman this time. And Alder happens to be in this room where literally everything she's reading in the book is like drawn on the walls conveniently. And the book she's reading is like this memoir, I guess, of the woman's voice. So we're going to go with that. And it turns out in the memoir, Alder finds out the witch she's been searching for all along, the one from Ghana, the one that is the steward, is Jem Bellwether. So it's Jem Bellwether the whole time. And Jem is described in this memoir as being a super witch who essentially destroyed the plantation of her racist owners that like took her from Ghana. And the reason she's a super witch is she has the capability of singing two elements at once, which are with like ease. It's like breathing for her, which is crazy and a testament to how powerful she is as a witch. So I guess what this is implying, and it was never really like explained in Motherland, was that when witches do work, they're usually harnessing like one element, like earth, the terreme, versus like water, which is like I guess the weather work, or necro, the power of the dead, or whatever. Like they're usually doing like one element, but Jem can just harness like two at once. And the two at once she was harnessing with ease was earth and sky. So like the merging of earth and sky was essentially, we get what that really was implied here. And basically it's the bellwethers. So they were always the threat to the Camarilla. And what they were afraid of was the bellwethers realizing their full like magical potential, which is that they can harness multiple elements at once, which is rare in witches' work and more powerful than anything else. So they were afraid of that, like couldn't fight against that witches' work. And if witches figured that shit out, like it's game over for like non-witches, basically. And but the sad piece about it is that like, you know, like Elliot kind of talked about in the wedding a little bit through the interaction with Minerva and Abigail, was that a lot of the bellwether history was just like lost to time. Like, and you can see why that kind of happened. Like the bellwethers through Jem were taken from their ancestral home against their will, planted somewhere else, stripped of their identity, became slaves, and like because of their situation, like their history was lost. So their connection to their ancestor that was like the first song steward was severed and like lost to time through what happened to Jem, which is terrible, but it's a reality of like fucking slavery and one of the reasons why it's fucking terrible and ridiculous, aside from everything else about it. So bottom line is that Jem at the time barely remembered the first song seed, and so jumped to her current her current offspring generationally down the line, Abigail, Petra. None of them fucking know how to do this because even Jem didn't know. So that's the implication, is that like Alder found the steward, but nobody knows the song because the steward never passed it on, kind of thing. But I love this one line in the memoir that describes the first song and the way Jem can do it by like harnessing the two elements. And it basically says like the song that Jem seed has the power to break the world or remake it, which I thought was such a great description. Because if you've ever like watched and or read like The Wheel of Time, like it basically kind of talked, the whole premise of this book is like based, it's a fantasy book, but it's like based on this premise that like in order to like start a new era, you kind of have to break the world to do it. So actually by singing this song to change the world, you have to actually break the world that exists to change it. So it's such like a powerful statement that's like, ooh, either or, but really like those two things have to kind of happen together kind of sequentially to change anything. So I kind of love that. And it's, again, an implication for like the ultimate ending of this episode and like kind of what happens going forward. So this scene is really awesome and I love it a lot.
It's a good scene.
It is.
Depending on how it's sung. Such a cool concept.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we're going to go back to Silver and Alban being gross for a minute, but also we get a little bit of good in here as well. So Silver has finished. I guess they've gone to commercial on whatever channel he's live broadcasting onto with his bigotry. And Alban says that his speech was masterful, and I completely disagree. But Isidora doesn't care because she has a plan. She brings a tray of coffee, and Alban downs one of the cups. And then Silver begins doubting. He becomes a doubting Debbie, basically, because he thinks nothing's going according to plan, etc., etc. And Alban just is trying to get him back in line and starts going over what he should say when they get back on the air. But then he realizes that he's just making things worse with Silver, so he backs off and he has more coffee. And then Isidora asks him how the coffee is and smiles. And he says, "It's a little bitter." I'm like, this line!
Okay, so I have a what was Isidora doing off screen moment that has to do with this coffee. So, okay, we figure out like one ingredient she put in this coffee like 2 seconds after the scene. But I think Isidora was like fucking with that way more like off screen. I think she got the task and she's like, "I'm not your maid, bitch." And I think she like was off screen making that coffee like as disgusting as humanly possible. Like she made it through like a drip coffee thing and she like let it burn and like was adding like really gross like ingredients she just had in the lab in there just to fuck with him. Like she made it more disgusting and unpalatable than she needed to because she's a petty bitch, we learned in this episode. And I can see her doing all of that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I bet Emily would say the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I almost called you Isidora, because your name's in the same.
It does. One of the many reasons I personally feel seen by this character.
Yes. So, as Theora said, we're about to get the revenge coming. Back on air, Silver talks about meeting Kelly at a softball game, but that's interrupted when Alban starts to have pain and he vomits witch plague Penelope. He's consumed and turns into Penelope, who then turns to Daddy Silver and asks, "Was it worth it?" Hi. Good question. He starts trying to apologize. You can't apologize for what you did. There's no apology for that. And trying to give like reason, not even reason, he's trying to justify by saying, "Well, they made me do it." Fuck you and everything you stand for.
I call bullshit on that.
Mm-hmm.
I call bullshit on that. I think they nudged into this. But if we all recall, earlier this season, when you had Anacostia and Sterling trapped in a gladiator cell, you were taking way too much pleasure in fucking with them. Like Sterling, who apparently you've known so long, like that he remembers Penelope as a toddler. And you were in there being like, it's not you, it's me. It's best we have a clean break. You're about to die because you're a dirty witch. Like, you were having way too much fun power tripping and all this bullshit. So to backpedal now to save face with your daughter is disgusting. Like, that's all this really is. It's fucking bullshit.
He should have just not said anything and let her kill him.
Yeah.
But he's disgusting and he had to make excuses.
Agreed.
So she's like, basically, "Fuck you." And he's like, "I love you so much," as he hugs her. And she says, "You too." It's like the thing you say when you don't love somebody and you're just saying it. Anyway, and then she consumes him with witch plague. And they both disappear. While Sterling and Isidora watch. But also, I love the part in this where Isidora is just like, yeah, bitch, what now?
I love when she's like, answer her. Fucking answer
Yeah,
her.
that's what I mean. Answer her.
That was my favorite line of the episode. Answer her.
Mm-hmm.
But also, my note on this was, I'm so confused. Go Isidora.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck did Penelope go?
Yeah.
Like, where did she go?
Did she like go away now that she's gotten her revenge? Is she in the atmosphere?
Yeah, it is never touched on again. Where the fuck did Penelope just go? Like, okay, I don't understand a lot of the scene. I understand her killing Albin, because if she has witch plague powers, he has witch vocal cords. So, like, witch plague would consume him. Sure. Killing Silver doesn't make sense because she killed him the same way with the witch plague, but he's a human. And we saw in the season 2 finale, the witch plague doesn't kill humans the way the mycelium doesn't kill witches. So I don't fully understand this, but I'll accept whatever this was for Penelope killing her dad because he deserves it. But then, like, Penelope disappears and goes where? I don't understand. Did she go back in the container? Like did Isidora train her off screen too? Where she's like, okay, Penelope, when you're not corporeal, you go back in the container. Like, go on, and she like slithers back in that container. I don't know. Maybe she haunts.
We'll never know.
Maybe she haunts the Necro dungeon like forever, and like it's just like Isidora's little like atmosphere friend, and like she corporealizes whenever, and they have chats. And I like to think that Isidora has like a friend in Penelope forever in the Necro lab.
Yeah,
nice.
that's what happened. Okay, it's canon now.
Boom.
Perfect.
Can
I mention one thing before you go on to the next one?
Whatever you want.
I love what you titled this next scene.
Yes.
Read it aloud, please.
I'll get there. So, for the next scene, we're going back to the mycelium, where Alder and the stewards have arrived because it's time for the first fucking song, which is what I titled this scene, because that's all it is. And Tally's thrilled because, one, she understands what's happening now. She had her big epiphany. She's like, I get it. I finally get it. But also, Alder's here. And it's Tally. So she's like, yay, my wife is back. And Alder's like, yep, Tally, it's great. We don't have time for this. We have to get a move on. And then she goes and drops the bomb to Abigail. Hey, listen, you're the steward. You're the one I was looking for this whole fucking time. You've been here, whatever. But not to worry. Like, I know you don't know this because nobody passed the song on to you, but like, you'll get it once like we start singing. Don't worry about it. Just go with it and sing whatever comes into your heart or whatever. And while Alder's explaining this, Tally fucks off and goes to give Raylla a pep talk. And she's like, you got this, Raylla. I understand what's happening. The world's not ending. Like, it's going to be fine. Just remember, when we start singing, you need to send that sound literally everywhere in the world. No big deal. Like, you got it, right? And Raylla's like, yeah, I got it. Like, get the fuck away from me. I'm charging up now. And so the stewards start gathering behind Raylla. And Raylla morphs into her final lesbian Jesus form. So she starts, like, glowing. So there's the golden glow behind her, which is, like, a halo Jesus imagery, because she's a sun god. And then the purple glow, which is, like, the mycelium. It's, like, life, death, all that stuff is the purple glow. And she's harnessing with the mycelium. This is the mother's master plan, basically. And then the stewards start singing the first song. And the first time I watched this, I was like, where the fuck is the shepherd dude? I didn't see him, but he's there. He's just, you see him for like a split second, and then he's, with every camera angle during the singing, he's not on screen, but he's there. Like, that guy was the most pointless character in the whole season. Anyway, he's there. Just, it doesn't matter. So what ends up happening is, like, it works, the mother's master plan, and like Raylla shoots the mycelial spores out into the atmosphere, and it like encapsulates the earth. And I had a question about this because I understand what the purpose of this is, but like, isn't the mycelium poisoned right now? And so if we're shooting mycelial spores into the atmosphere, like, you have to assume that they're poisoned. So what people are inhaling right now is partially poisoned. So
listen, those are the details, Theora. We don't need the details in this episode. Remember?
no, I mean that's the point of the podcast. Let's talk about these things.
I know.
You want me to skip them? I'll skip them.
No, I'm being sarcastic as hell. So because we couldn't fit things in time, we're like, yes, okay, so we're going to spit the. It didn't have time to heal. The first song doesn't heal. Raylla didn't heal it.
Yeah, so like implication is that we're not just getting like pieces of the mycelium that are now infecting people. They're tainted. So like this may not go as the mother intended is like the implication here that I'm reading into this. So like if and when there are future like seasons that or whatever books, whatever that look into this, like there's no way this just like goes smoothly because like this thing was poisoned. So
absolute.
Remember that. Anyway, when it's over, Raylla uses the mycelium to heal Adil and Scylla. So she doesn't really get up from the platform. She just looks to them, touches the mycelial hyphae, and does her little prayer. And you see it light up and like go to the two of them. So again, using the mycelium to heal them. After that, there's celebratory hugging that happens. A Talder hug. There you go. Followed by a Raylla hug and Adil and Abigail hug with Khalida. And I want to talk about the Raylla part because honestly, I prefer that this is a hug instead of them making out like they constantly have shown this season. Because this is a moment where like Raylla kind of thought she lost Scylla because Scylla was like actively dying. And her healing magic didn't work the first time, and then it kind of worked the second time. And it was almost like this moment of like, wow, I almost lost you for good. Like you can like see it on her face. And the reaction to that is like, I need to feel that you're okay. And so she does this like very full-bodied hug with Scylla. And like you see her hands like clawing into Scylla's back, like trying to like be as physically as possible, like close to her. And to me, that was more intimate and an appropriate reaction and a better choice than like the face attacking stuff they've been doing all season. So thank you, whoever's choice this was. I think this was a better thing for them to do than just like making out all the time. So I appreciate this.
I think it was appropriate as well. It's much more fitting for the emotions in the scene. If they had at all had any kind of face attacking, it should have either been in the beginning of this episode somehow, some way, whatever. There's no place to fit it. Or at the end when they're all holding each other. A small kiss might have been okay. However, not here. You're correct. I agree. This was much more appropriate and emotionally
fitting.
That's the word. Thank you. It's been a long week.
Sure has been.
All right. You covered pretty much. Oh, no. I will say this. I really do have my favorite line in this scene. Okay, there's not a terribly large amount of lines, but I love that Abigail says, you've got to stop blowing up, shitbird.
Oh, yeah, we got one more shitbird in there.
Yeah, that was cute. I love it. All right. Is that all for you?
Yeah, that was the scene.
All right. So let's go outside and above ground where there's an eerie echo of the first song, Atmosphere Thing, as Petra, Isidora, and Sterling emerge from a building. And then the underground group comes around the side of the building and meets up with them. Petra hugs Abigail and Adil, and then backs up and breaks the news about Anacostia to everyone. Then they each say something very apt about Anacostia and do the traditional send-off to Anacostia Quartermain for those who dwell on the earth, and then 2 stomps as per Witch Army protocol.
We will insert taps for you, Anacostia, and like we did for Isidora, Caitlin, and give you a quick eulogy.
I didn't do that last time.
I know you didn't. I did it. You should actually go listen to it. It's really funny because I managed to fit taps in, and then it ends with whatever song you put in, so it's like a really funny transition. I'll send you the clip later. It's hilarious. Feel free to do that now too. It's really funny. All right. So we salute to you, Anacostia Quartermain. I don't know how to give eulogies, but you were our Mama Costia. You were the fierce mama that kept our unit safe. You recognized their potential from the beginning. You claim to have remembered or saw the good in Scylla, but also at the beginning, you irrationally hated her. But we're glad you eventually saw Scylla Big Witch Energy Ramshorn for who she is. And in the end, none of this would have been possible without you and your sacrifice. So thank you, Mama Costia Quartermain. Gone but never forgotten.
Banana Costia Quarter Pounder.
Yes.
Anyway. Sad.
But, you know, I'm surprised more people didn't die because war. Because, like, okay, in the afterstorm, Elliot's like, well, you know, or I forget it was Elliot, or somebody was like, well, you know, it's war. So, like, it kept the realism. I'm like, realistically, more people should have died. Like, not just one. But, you know, if they're going to kill one of the characters, it has to be somebody you care about, which is, like, what made Libba so emotional, like, heart-wrenching and stuff, because you, like, kind of got a fondness for her, and, like, the characters had a fondness for her by the end. And, you know, Mama Costia was such a big, central, like, figure really the whole time, and she was so connected to the protagonist like from the jump. So to lose her at the end is probably one of the most emotional characters you could lose, besides like Alder. But like Alder at this point is like beyond death and life at this point, so you can't really lose her. But that would have been another like big like wow like character to lose. So it's sad, but like kind of from a storytelling perspective, it does make sense for it to have been Anacostia if they had to have the realism.
I'm just glad they didn't kill Tally. I would have killed them.
So Elliot escaped Caitlin's wrath, and mine and Bree's by keeping all our faves alive.
Exactly.
I thought my fave was going down.
I honestly never thought mine was, because I don't think Elliot is unintelligent enough to kill off the queer canon couple.
No, he's not Laura Neal, so there you go.
No, he's not. So Alder tells Nicta that they need to talk. So they're going to have their exes talk however many 20 some odd years later. And Petra asks Abigail what they did exactly. And Abigail's like, I don't know, but I think we changed everything.
Put a pin in that.
Everyone, and then we have a shot of everyone looking to the sky with hope, I guess. And do we have like the big cloud of witch bomb, mycelium, first song stuff?
It's fungal spores encapsulating the earth is what it is.
That's what it is.
And that's what it is.
And that's the end of that scene. I'm excited for the next one.
Me too. So we shoot on over to Alder and Nicta, who meet under a tree. Kissing. No, not yet. What's happening under the tree is that they have their exes talk, like Bree said. And Alder is like, listen, if we're going to do this, you need to talk to me with your real face. Like, what is this? And then we get one last shot of Candace Nicta taking a golden lighter and like lighting her face on fire. And she says, anything for you, Sarah, because subtext. And then she transforms back into OG Nicta, aka Arlen. And I literally gasped when this happened because I was not expecting to see Arlen again. And thank you, Elliot, and whoever else was involved for this gem of a scene and giving us this, because this was my favorite scene in the episode. And I didn't realize how much I needed these two to like clear the air, but holy shit, like this was a big closure moment. So I thought this was really great. In the scene, after we get Arlen's beautiful face, and Alder kind of like takes a second to like kind of take that in, because like, again, like they've been haunting each other for like 30 years. That's what's been happening between the two of them. And Alder is finally like the bigger person and apologizes to Nicta for fucking her over all those years ago and recognizes the trauma that she caused. So this is Alder, like full circle Alder. Because we remember when we were first introduced to Alder, Alder was very much like, listen, I got to make big decisions that suck, but that's what leaders do, and like no regrets. But we finally get Alder like recognizing, you know, a regret that she has and like taking ownership of her own part that she played in Nicta transforming into the spree leader. So it's a very like big moment for Alder because she's like taking ownership of her mistake. And for Nicta, like she needed to hear this. So it's very validating that like a recognition of her trauma and Alder's part in this. And it gives her closure with this very, very dark chapter that like defined her for the last 30 years. And Nicta basically says that by saying, hey, I'm also sorry that I spent so many years hating you instead of enjoying my life. And like, that's it. Like the last 30 years of her life were just like her being consumed by hatred, isolating herself, and just hyper fixating on just getting back at the woman that did her wrong. And was Alder. And this thing that she says is very serious and vulnerable. So of course Nicta has to lighten the mood because it's Nicta. And she's like, I'm actually an incredibly fun person, which was such a good line. And Alder has to laugh at this. And she's like, have you met yourself? How are you fun? You're like a hermit that lives in a cabin and talks to bats. Like, come on now. And it's a good, like, little humorous moment. But, like, at this point, like, they've put the past aside and they're, you know, made up. And Nicta doesn't react to this like she normally would. She kind of, like, almost enjoys it. She's like, okay, we're having fun. And it's very cute. So then that was the past. They dealt with the past. Now they're like, okay, they get on to the future. So Alder asks about Nicta's role with President Wade because Wade was like, I'm going to get you, bitch, in the last episode. And now suddenly Nicta's working for Wade. So Nicta confirms that is what's happening. And she's like, at least for now. So we'll see. So this is like, basically the two of them in the scene are making amends for their dark past. Like Alder's reaching out to Nicta and then to settle that score. And then Nicta is making it up to America by like working with Wade to like make the world a better place, I guess. And the whole scene just puts them on equal footing again, which is really great. And then the scene ends with Alder teasing Nicta about being fun, which she is. And we get a romantic wide shot of the two of them walking away underneath a majestic tree. Kind of like the shots we used to get of Raylla in every season. So, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, subtext.
I would like to point out that this scene is the reason that I'm wearing my Nicta's Glamp Summer Camp shirt, where chaos ensues.
This scene saved the finale for me. And is the reason I was very happy and felt closure at the end of it, because it's like their whole history was such a defining thing for like the whole fucking show. So like I know that we were rushed and there was not a lot of time to do stuff, but like closing this was so huge. So I'm really glad they kept this in. Like it was huge for both Alder and both Nicta to like move the fuck on. So I mean,
it felt good.
It felt good, and there's bigger implications with that, like Alder being a wiser leader, so she can go on to be like the mother or whatever, who's learned from her past. And then you have now what happens to the spree if Nicta has like officially buried the Alder grudge, like what does that mean for the spree going forward? What do they become? So it closes one like storyline, but then opens the possibilities for others. So I do like that this is in here, and I think that's kind of why Elliot did it, because it's like, well, what if, like, kind of stuff, which is fun. And also, do they get back together now? I mean, come on now. What was that wide shot, guys? There was no Raylla under a majestic live oak scene this season. These two got it. I love that.
I lost my thought. Oh, no, here it is. On the future of the spree, what if they became the spies?
They should, because they're better at it.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be cool.
Sorry.
They already use off canon work.
Yeah, and it's also really easy to rebrand because it's almost the same amount of letters. The spree, the spies. It's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the
I like
paperwork,
it.
the headers, like they just have to change a few letters, and they're like, we're the spies.
Here we go. I like that you made me think of that. So, kudos.
My job.
Mm-hmm. Now for the rest of the episode. Tally has her sight back! I guess the atmosphere gave her sight back. Cool. Cool bees. I like it. I wanted Tally to have her sight.
I also wonder if it's like now that the first song is like
out there.
Yeah, it's like gone from like all of they don't have that seed anymore. And so like Tally, like that whatever trade she did with the frozen witch is undone, so she gets her sight back. Maybe that was it.
Yeah, could be. She sees the world covered in the first song through her sight. Like it goes to different places in the world. And then Alder says, well, guess what? Not everybody has your sight, so the mother wants everyone to see. Let's go. And at that moment, the first time I watched this, I was like, okay, so everybody's going to go. No, they're not. It's literally just Alder and the unit. Okay.
Yep. What the fuck?
I feel like I understand the choice of these are the three we started with. These are the three that go forward and carry on things. However, it makes me feel like the other characters lack importance. The other characters that none of these three would be here if they had not been part of this. Petra. Scylla. I'm not going to say Adil because he's the doormat.
Khalida.
Where the hell is Khalida?
The most powerful witch in the world, according to Alder.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Yeah.
Okay.
But sure.
Sure. So the mother speaks through Alder and says, long ago I merged with 6 women. I changed their voices and the way they hear. Descendants of the 6 became known as witches and were feared for their gifts. Now my gift is freely given thanks to you 3. They are all awake and singing the same song. Basically, everyone is now a witch on the planet. The world will need new stewards. They will need your vision, Tally, your care, Raylla, and your fury, Abigail. They will call you goddesses. And then Alder comes back and says, did you get all that? And then Raylla's like, we're ancient. What?
So, yeah, Elliot basically said at the, like in the After the Storm at the start of season 3 that like, we're going to learn like witches aren't what you think they are, basically. And so I think the implication here is that like witches came first in some aspect, evolutionarily speaking, or like the mother came first, like the creator, whatever the mother is really supposed to be, and like gave the gift of harnessing the elements of the earth to these individuals who then passed it on. That's kind of like the implication I got, that like really we're the OGs and everybody else who can't do what we can do like isn't. Like they were meant to be us, but some shit went down and they didn't. So here we are. So I think that's kind of the implication. Like when the elements were created, harnessers of the elements kind of came along with that. So like we've been here the whole time is kind of the implication.
Yes. Witches are the ancient ones.
Right.
So Alder says that witch is a word, just a word they call us. And that is, basically, listen, bitches, we're the ancient ones. You call us this word. It's your word. It's not ours. This isn't our identity. But yeah, I guess what Alder's work is done. And she thanks them and kisses each one of their foreheads and says, when they call you goddesses, make sure you live up to it. and then dematerializes into mycelium particles. And then there's a dramatic song. They link hands and say, "Let us begin" in Menashe. We get a shot of the earth turning with the first song, spore encapsulation around it, and then hear them say, "Let us begin" in Menashe again. Caitlin says, "I want to put funny notes in, but it doesn't feel possible in this episode. I just don't understand."
It's fair enough, Caitlin. So, cool bookend.
Mm-hmm.
I have something to say about this scene, though. That was like kind of, well, the whole mother thing. So, and like I put this on our Tumblr and a lot of you guys interacted with it. So thank you for that. Because there's weird implications that come out of like what just went down. Namely that like the mother doesn't know what consent is. Because the implication,
that was my first thought. I was like, you turn them into witches without, like, that's
correct. Yeah, like that's essentially what just happened here. Like I understand the implication of like we're the ancient ones, like we were here first, really, and I'm just like like doing what I was supposed to do thousands of years ago, but it didn't happen. Because I mean, what we saw historically is like they're the ones that had language, so like they were the first like sentient communicator humans, basically. But like the mother just like does this in an instant, and they're like, well, they're all witches now. And I understand on the surface, the read is cool. Bigotry is gone because now we're all the same. We're all on equal footing. So the thing that was dividing everybody was like witches versus non-witches. That's gone because we're all the same now. So you can't have the leg to stand on that you used to for like the not our daughters movement, the Camarilla. Their whole thing was hating witches. Well, we're all witches now. You can't hate us. But okay, psychologically speaking, you have a bunch of people who fucking hate witches, and now you turn them into a witch. So there's going to be a lot of like self-hatred and like trauma that comes with these people for processing, I'm the thing I hate now. So you're just traumatizing a whole bunch of people that you converted without their consent, which is kind of fucked up. But also, implication for the Camarilla. So it's not like this group is just going to be like, oh, we're all witches. Well, we'll dissolve now. This is a very high funded group that's ancient and has a lot of power and just created all this military gear, right? And part of their military operations was getting vocal cords and like doing witches' work. So now you've just made them witches. So you just made it easier for them to do the thing that they're already doing. And they have all this gear that nobody else has that combats witches' work. So you actually just put them ahead of the game, like militarily speaking. And so hating witches was really just an excuse for them to like rally the masses, like the Not Our Daughters movement. So like they could easily be like, we don't hate witches anymore. We're just going to take that away and just take over the world, which was their goal the whole fucking time. So they actually just made this easier for like the Camarilla to just like take over the world because they are witches now, so they can do witches work. And they have technology to combat against witches that nobody else has. So they can make their power move like right now and take everybody off guard and just take over the world. So there's a lot of weird shit that gets implied by what just happened here. So the fact that Alder at the end is like, they're going to revere you as goddesses, I'm like, who's we? Who's they? Because maybe people who are witches now will be like, cool, you made everybody witches. Now we're not going to get hated. But the people who are traumatized by this are going to look at them as like demons. So like it's not the big like harmonizing thing. It's like presented as basically there's a lot of weird implications from this like non-consensual witch transforming this whole thing just did.
I actually think that's kind of on purpose.
I'm sure. I mean, it's the reality of the situation. If you did something like this, yeah, like it's not going to be smooth. Nothing ever is.
Yep. And so that gives you a lot of material to continue on with if there are/were more seasons.
Yeah, and After the Storm, if you haven't watched the finale After the Storm, like go watch it. It's really like heartwarming, and Elliot kind of explains basically exactly that. He's like, I wanted to end it with a bunch of what ifs so that like you can think about it and be like, oh well, what if, and kind of thing. So it is by design like that. So just think about the implications of like just turning people into witches overnight. It's not as like, ooh, we did it kind of move as it's like presented as.
Correct.
And also, this was like, I love the implication that they're like goddesses at the end, because like I think they were always meant to be like the triple goddess, and like here's that confirmation at the end. So that's validating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's recap time. I like your recap.
Yep. The recap is we're all witches now. That's the show.
That's it.
That's it. That's a recap. We're all witches. And R.I.P. Anacostia. That's it.
Yeah.
Caitlin's Corner.
It's time for Caitlin's Corner. Are you tired enough?
Yeah. Woo!
Hey, we only made you listen to us for an hour and 26 minutes.
Yeah, when we were like halfway through the episode, it was like 30-some minutes, 40-some minutes. I was like, damn, yeah, we're getting tired.
Go, Caitlin. Bring us home.
So it is currently 2:46 p.m. for me. And you would think I'd be awake and not half asleep. But I've had barely any sleep this week. So I am still exhausted. I think I did these last night. Alright, so 310, Caitlin's Corner, aka everything, every thought Caitlin has. I wrote down. Letter on phone. Oh no, that's later. Alright. So this is my third time watching. I still have no idea what happens. This show is really beautiful. I think that's all the effects and like the graphics and stuff. Raylla sounds like me when I am half asleep. I'm fine.
Relatable.
Yep.
Ha ha ha. Raylla knows Tally. Just like, and no, I'm not gonna blow up the world, Tally.
Yep.
Raylla should wipe her mouth. She just has the blood just hanging there. But why is it
Maybe
so
that's
green?
why Scylla didn't kiss her.
But why is it so green? Like, this the Isidora scene, because I understand that there's green walls, but it doesn't have to be that green.
No.
What? That's it.
That's enough.
Still want to punch Hurst in the face. Isidora, the creepy, laughy clown. She got to use it.
Yeah.
But they don't know yet.
No, they don't.
They didn't get it. We've never heard so much laughter in this show.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, you're not joking.
Can I get some of that? Never mind, I definitely don't need it.
I assume you mean whatever drug they gave her.
Yeah, and then I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna be laughing my butt off while doing this. I don't need any of it. I told you I literally wrote every thought I had.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I am amazed that they never changed the opening. But it would have cost too much.
It's perfect the way it is.
Yeah, I love it the way it is. They didn't need to.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of shows change the opening. Do. I don't understand Alder this season. Freaking explosion. Every time. It scares me every single time. This show is weird. Alright, this one's for Lissy. You're just gonna have to bear with me for like 30 seconds. Okay? Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more, you open the I'll save you from the rest of that. But okay. So I know that doesn't make sense in here, but when I was writing this is when let's see, Fort Salem Necro wrote in the Discord and sent us the Titanic video. So hence it went into the notes.
Explain for the listeners who don't know what scene that was in reference to.
Oh, it was when they were in the mycelium, and Scylla was saying, "I'll never let go, Raylla."
Yeah. So there you go, guys.
Except instead of a ship, they're inside the mycelium hole with a platform.
And also
of lesbian Jesus light.
It also works for the Adil Abigail thing, because they're literally like, let me go. I won't let go.
It does.
Thank you, Caitlin.
This was when I tweeted my prediction that Anacostia dies. I love Tally's sweater. But like, Greg? Love the bond between Scylla and Anacostia. Still making myself accept this ship. The ship.
It works either way.
Oh, my brain, okay. So I knew that this was gonna mess me up because I watched it, but then I rewound the scene and it went back to the scene before, so I have notes that go back and forth from the scenes.
Okay.
But the next note says nice little tiki lamps.
Are you talking about the bombs?
Oh.
I love that I translate, Caitlin.
Hey.
I knew what it meant, but I love that you knew what it meant. Anacostia definitely wants this to happen. Wink, wink. There are a lot of weird faces in this show whenever they start singing.
Oh.
Because, like, can you just, like, you're just filming there and, like, nothing's actually coming out of their mouth and they're just like,
I was thinking of that too. I'm like, that must have sucked to have to do this scene.
Some way to die, though. Bree spoiled this for me.
Sorry.
So we were on the video chat together watching the episode, but Bree was 2 minutes ahead of me. So I knew so long. She was like, "Oh, there it happened." And I'm like, "Okay, so she did die." Thanks. They could have put a little more substance in if they cut out even a quarter of the Tally Abigail fight scenes. Like, I feel like that's all they did was just, like, swing the thing around.
I mean, Michelle was proud.
Yeah, but I mean, no. Okay, so those scenes looked like it was the cutoff scourge, though.
Oh, definitely.
They did. Definitely.
Yeah, so it's not as...
stunty.
She'd still be proud. She's Michelle.
Yeah. But also, she had to have been I think she doubled the season sometimes, because how else would Keenan know her?
True.
This was going back to a conversation we had not on camera.
That's true.
The one good thing about changing faces is that they are giving more opportunities to actors.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know what this one means. Yes. Look who's talking.
Okay, hold on. Where are we in the episode again? So
it was when Sterling was somewhere.
Okay. What did they say?
Sterling was a different. I don't know.
Well, that's when he came in and was talking to Isidora, and his big line there was "get him" or "give him hell" or something.
No. It was with like Petra.
Yeah. So she's talking
Sterling
to Petra,
as the other dude,
and Petra's like, "I know you loved Anacostia, blah 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 blah."
Oh, I don't remember what was said.
The next one says, "Jess is the sweetest thing, but I wouldn't want to be on the other end of that look." So I don't know where we
Who
are.
is she looking at?
Look during the
I
fight
don't
with the
know.
King and Raylla, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Because when the sound goes off, she gets this like fury look and then starts like attacking everybody. Maybe it was that. I'm not in your brain.
I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
I don't even know my own brain. Forget Gregorio. Help the people with you. Don't let the dude take over your life. You literally just got together.
It's just relationship advice in general.
Tally can't see anything. Why would she know where Alder is? Because Abigail's like, where's Alder? Like, I don't know. I've been with you the whole time.
Well, they're so used to asking Tally what the fuck's going on because she's the only one that can see anything that they're just like defaulting back to that whole thing.
Also, Abigail doesn't listen to Tally at all, so she probably didn't realize her sight was gone.
Yeah, it's true.
Honestly, that scene, that scene too, I love it because finally Abigail's like, "Oh, you were right, Tally, about what you saw."
Oh yeah, I forgot. Like the whole time she was like,
she's like, I guess you're right. I guess you're right, Tally. We are here where you said we were, and I gaslit you into thinking we would never be. Anyway.
How much time has passed that Tally can't do anything but think about Greg? I wrote it like that, by the way.
It was literally less than 24 hours because they went from the night of the wedding to the next morning was this battle. So less than 24 hours.
I may be getting a little bitter about this.
Oh, I know. But it's like, what the fuck, Tally?
Yeah. No, seriously, though. Like, seriously. I hate that, like, just a guy cut, like... See, this is what I'm trying to get Danielle to understand as well. Like, just because there's a guy around doesn't mean your whole life has to be him. Just saying.
Yeah.
Still love you, Praneet. You got nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Greg, however, needs to go to Adil.
Agreed.
Abigail can either be with Thelma or do some more work on herself first.
The second one.
Yeah.
And then be with Thelma later.
Yeah. Fix yourself first.
Tally didn't kiss Nicta because Greg was there. I said it in here too! I guess I really wanted to make sure that was across. I didn't realize I try not to write the same things that I say in your notes, which is also why I had trouble because like everything I thought I wrote down. Do you think Abigail will ever have a dream that Tally stole her cavalier?
Oh,
ooh.
Good question.
That is a question.
That's a fan fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, my thoughts have gone off the rails. Yeah. Sure, it is definitely realistic for the bad guys to stop fighting while they tell Tally to go.
Yeah, that's right. I thought that too. I was like, hi, why did we they didn't, that was the perfect time to attack. All right.
This was the scene Keenan was talking about, I assume.
Yeah, I was waiting to find that scene.
Wait, tell me again, because...
when they're screaming, crying, and therapy.
Yes. F.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the interview.
It wasn't.
I want to see. My favorite part about Caitlin's Corner is I can be cryptic about everything, and then people are like, "What are they talking about?" Like, you'll never know. I want to know what is going through Isidora's head
while she's in that room with them.
Yeah.
I did too.
I'm gonna kill you.
You're gonna die.
And now you're dead. Ha 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 ha. And then she does the mad scientist laugh in her. That's what happened, in case you're wondering.
Are these the mushroom people? You remember that from that night? I don't understand what that means either. To ask her if she ever figures that out. I'll never let go, Jack! What it says. What the hell made Tally figure stuff out?
Yeah, that's my question too! What the fuck? Did she just, like, have a message from the mycelium? I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So the rest of the season was pointless. Except Thelma. We always need her.
Always.
I got distracted by Facebook and I'm getting really tired. I got distracted by Facebook.
That was Caitlin, not the episode.
That was Caitlin. Alvin
Maybe
will never
that's where
shut
Kelly
up.
got the information.
Facebook?
They don't even have phones. Really?
You don't
She
know. We just
downloaded
didn't see 'em.
Facebook to her brain.
There you go.
Alvin will never shut up. Oh, okay. Bitter like you. Only fair Penelope gets to kill him. But, like, did she ever become a human again?
We don't know.
Where did
As that owl said, the world will never know.
Earth and sky, what? Love the visual effects of the earth. They had to put Talder together somehow. I'm just glad she isn't pregnant.
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't know what they did either. Oh, because when Petra's like, what did you guys do? And she's like, we don't really know. Like, I have no idea either. And then the next one is kiss, kiss, kiss.
For Nicta and
Yeah.
Alder?
Yep. Love when Tally is happy. It's like always. The mycelium is healed. Oh, the mycelium is healed. Alder's hair shouldn't be gray.
Is it though? Because it still got poisoned by the...
Yeah, I mean...
But isn't it healed?
No, it's not healed at all. Like, if anything, the mycelium just, like, did its last hurrah and sent all of its spores, which are mycelium little babies, up into the atmosphere. So it just exhausted all of its, like, energy to do that. So I don't know what state the mycelium's in right now.
The poison that they set off, the fungicide poison...
It's still there.
Still there.
Yeah. So, like, if you think about it, the mycelium has had no time to rest at all this episode, so there's no way it can, like, give Alder, like, a power boost to change her hair. Don't think about it too much, just move on.
So, like, everyone just wakes up with powers?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, they wake up with witch anatomy, I guess.
Yeah.
They gotta learn how to use the powers.
I still don't get it. Hasemeyova. Hasemi. Yeah. I want to hug all of them. Third time. Still don't get it. All right, now I have letters to read. All right, I wrote one while you guys were talking. Oh, wait, oh, no. You sent stuff. Don't make me distracted on the phone. Great, thanks. Wonderful, Bree. Bree did stuff.
What did I do?
You took a photo.
Oh.
I got distracted. Hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got this. Bristol, oh, no, it's not Bristol. It's Brooklyn. I'm sorry. Never mind. So the first one. Okay. Just gonna read. I forget what I wrote first, so I might be repeating stuff I'm gonna say next. I just want to say that I'm really proud of Theora and Bree. I have been working them really hard this past month, and it has been difficult. There is so much work that goes into this, and I'm just proud to see how all this work is helping us grow. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and interacted with us. Your support really helps us keep going. The amount of work that Thea and Bree have been putting in definitely needs to be recognized. We get so many wonderful opportunities because of it. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Now I wrote... Yeah.
Right back at you because you've worked really, really hard.
Yeah. Caitlin, thank you for hanging in there and joining us on this crazy train. So we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your hard work, your dedication, creativity, and masterful management of
Correct.
this little podcast that could. So thank you for making us better than we were when we started.
Oh, that means a lot.
It's true.
It's very true.
Believe it, girl. It's true.
I love you guys. I'm sure I say it at some point in here.
We love you too.
Hold on.
That's a bad one.
I love you guys. You're so adorable, and I love you so much. I just want to hug you so much.
How did I
Okay.
know
Now I already finished.
Actually, don't. Just don't do that.
I finished my dinosaur nuggets. I think I wrote this on Wednesday morning when I was sappy. So
all the feels.
Yeah. Getting to present the poll on Tuesday night was incredible. There were so many people there who we have gotten to interview and a few that we have scheduled. To have them be so open, loving, and interactive with us was heartwarming, really. I freaking love Keenan. At first, my tactic was to just pretend I was talking to Bree. Okay, I got this. My brain can function. At first, my tactic was to just pretend I was talking to Bree only like on the podcast. But seeing the people we have had long conversations with, even after we stopped recording, be so receptive and supportive, I can't explain the feeling it gives me. They made me feel seen and like we weren't just another interview for them. I mean, that was mostly because of Keenan shouting across the room to us, but the amount of people in that room who knew who we were, there really are no words. I am so grateful for this job. The people we have met and things we have got to do are because of a lot of hard work we do. But when you love something so much, it doesn't feel like work at all. I finally understand that. It's not just being recognized by cast and crew members, though. Wow, I really don't remember writing any of this. Every message we get from listeners saying how much they love the podcast and the interviews we do, it means everything. We love doing this, but to know that there are a few hundred people out there who also love what we do, it feels so special. I don't think I will ever be able to explain to Bree and Thee how much I love them and are grateful for them to bring me into this family. My life would be meaningless without them. I mean, that is true. I just didn't realize I wrote that. This podcast and these people gave me my purpose back. My family has seen me happier than I have been in such a long time. It's been a rough journey the past few years, but that passion for media has been reignited, and the people I now have in my life help me through every single day. Are you crying yet while reading this? You probably are, or at least thinking about how much you love Bree and Thee. Anyway, my heart feels so full, and it's a feeling I haven't had in so long. I want this feeling to last, and I know it will with Bree and Thee by my side. So thank you to the cast, crew, and people who listen to us, but thank you, Bree and Theora, for welcoming me right away, helping me every single day, and reciprocating the love I feel for the both of you. This podcast and our team is everything to me, and I will always be grateful for what we have and will achieve together. Yeah. I don't remember any of that.
You got
but
this,
I do feel like
You got half of Bree. So,
the other half refuses.
for all those listening at home, if you haven't noticed by now, the heart of this project is Caitlin.
Yes.
Caitlin is the heart.
No.
We're like the phalanges.
You just proved it. Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing. And seriously, thank you to all. This is our last recap episode of Motherland.
Unless something miracle happens.
Yeah, I mean, that we know of. It could change. But thank you to all those that started with us, who stuck with us, those of you who have joined wherever along this journey. We really appreciate, like, basically to echo everything Caitlin just said. It was all very true. Like, thank you for making us, like, we started this because we love talking about the show, and just thank you for all those who were also interested in what we had to say and that engaged with us along the way. It made this, a fun little journey. And, I think we set out what we wanted to accomplish with this podcast, which was to engage people on this show. And thank you, Caitlin, for getting us to engage with people who made the show possible in the first place. So thank you, everyone.
Exactly what they said. I'll have to write my sappy crap down later and post it somewhere. I'm not good live sappy.
I wrote it days ago and I don't remember writing any of it, so.
But Thea is good at sappy
on the fly.
on the fly.
That's okay.
I'm a writer through and through, not an orator.
But all right.
I wish I wasn't so tired right now. Like, I'm really out of it.
That's okay. Are you still with it enough to give our final Big Witch Energy Award winner?
Considering I forgot about it again.
How? Caitlin.
I don't know.
You gotta do it on the fly. This is the last one.
No, like, because I looked at it and I'm like, I have to pick people, but I still have no idea what the hell happened in this episode. But I'm gonna, okay, I think maybe. Am I going first again?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
All
can't
right. So I can't cheat?
and steal one of her
Excuse me?
No, I don't care. Whoever wants to go first. You don't have to go first.
Well, I mean, I was like, I don't know who actually has Big Witch energy in this episode. I guess Anacostia does because she sacrifices herself, but she gets killed so early in the episode. And then I was like, well, maybe Abigail. Just maybe. But just a slight bit, just because she really worked with that scourge.
She did.
But, I mean, you know what? The mycelium.
Okay, literally, mine was the mother. So that bitch changed the world, duped everyone this whole season, and then without consent made everyone witches. If that's not Big Witch energy, what is?
Exactly.
Like, what is?
The OG Big Witch energy is the mother.
Also, the mother. But side note, we didn't see this character, but off screen, we can officially say that Kelly Wade has Big Witch energy now because she's a witch. So, boom! That was my biggest takeaway from the episode.
I know you tweeted that, and I was like,
she has Big Witch
girls,
energy now.
right?
Official. Woo!
You know what? The mother gets the award, but so does everyone. Everyone that's a witch in this show gets the award because...
So everyone?
Even Adil?
No, I say the mother is my choice.
But you just said
I'm
that...
following up with, but I think everyone in here has Big Witch energy before they met Abigail.
I see.
Meaning Adil. Before he met Abigail.
Also, wait, is it also possible to retroactively, for like the whole show, to retroactively give Big Witch Energy Award to Jem Bellwether? Because, like, literally, this was whole possible because of Jem Bellwether, also.
Yep.
Like, she has so much Big Witch energy. She's a fucking legend, and people didn't even get her name right. Like, Jem Bellwether, also.
So, I really, like, my heart, for some reason, I don't even know if I can explain everything, but I feel like Raylla needs an award of some type because that bitch put up with a lot.
I just want a nap award.
Yeah, she's
I give her
I need therapy award.
Yeah. The most traumatized award.
Most traumatized.
Yes.
Hi, I'm gonna lay here and let the mother blast her spores into space through me. Award.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do we think Abigail redeemed herself at all?
Through the entire series?
Yeah, what do you mean, redeemed herself?
Or, like, from in this season?
Is she likable?
Yes.
I like Abigail.
I like Abigail. I thought Abigail had some of the best character growth I've ever seen in a character from season 1 to season 2. Because they presented her as this, like, posh, writes people off, super driven character. But then she, like, learns to, like, love and know what it's like to be a friend, to be a daughter, like in the sense of those words, not just like this military structure. But then in season 3, I don't know what happened to Abigail, and that's where the frustration lies. It's not a hating Abigail thing or make her being unlikable. It's like they put her back as like the posh girl who dismisses people, which is not what happened with Abigail the rest of the show. So it's weird. So like in this episode, this was more like the Abigail I expected to see going into season 3, where she's very like open about all these changes and is a team player and is protective of everybody and not dismissive. She's acknowledges Tally was right. Like this was the Abigail we should have had at the beginning of season 3.
That's why it felt different.
Yeah, so they regressed her whole character. They erased her whole character growth at the start of season 3, and I don't know why. And it was weird. Like this ending was Abigail. Like, so in a way, yes, I guess they redeemed Abigail, but not really. It's like they wrote Abigail where she should have been, like the start of season 3. At the end.
Yeah.
All right. I got another question. How are they goddesses?
Because they were the ones that made it possible. So, okay. So, like, the mother, I think this is what it is. The mother made witches in the first place, right? So, like, from everybody who talks about the mother, they talk about her as this creator, like, goddess-like entity. And so, in this scenario, the reason everybody else is now a witch is because of Tally, Abigail, Raylla, and Alder's piecing the fuck out of here. So the new creators of all these witches are going to be seen as those 3. So they're goddesses. They're the new mothers, basically, for like all these new witches. That's the mythology of what just happened. So like we know the events and the reality because we just saw it, but like the mythology that's going to come out of it is that they're the goddesses that made everybody witches. They're the new mothers.
Mm-hmm. What
My
they
head
said.
hurts.
Well, we've had very little sleep for the past week, so that makes sense.
And being in pain is a great transition for who is your final Laura Neal Award winner.
This was this is impossible.
I know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's like the same people always.
I don't know. I didn't give my award yet because I wanted to talk through the episode with you guys first, and I think that I'm gonna like give it to the truck that squished Anacostia.
I think that the truck. I think
it had a lot of.
The truck was wanted.
But well, it doesn't mean I can't give it the Laura Neal award.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think that's good. I'm also giving it to Silver because I fucking hate that bitch.
Yeah, I'm glad he's dead.
I'm so glad he's dead.
Yeah, you know what? For like basically pretending like he didn't kill his daughter.
Right. The way he was so weaselly and just cowardly and gross at the end. Like Albin, okay. Albin is maniacal and crazy, but he stayed true to who he was the whole time that episode, whereas Silver, like, backpedaled immediately when he saw Penelope. He's like, I didn't mean to do that. I love you. Like, you know, he starts gaslighting his daughter. Like, I mean, like, he's disgusting. He gets it from me. The truck
He's probably the most disgusting character in a series.
Ultimately, he's the ultimate Laura Neal Award winner, is him. He's disgusting. He's just weak. He's...
Poor Victor.
Gross.
Wait. Can I give it to, like, an action?
Sure. Whatever you want.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
I give the award to Tally being obsessed with a guy. Just, like, with, like, not being her own person.
So the comp pet thing she immediately fell into.
It's not been that long.
No. 24 hours tops.
And, like, the last time she saw him was, like, what? Months ago. And she barely saw him. I love Gregorio. I love Praneet. It just doesn't...
It doesn't have anything to do with the character of Gregorio or Praneet, the actor. It has everything to do with what Tally did once he came back into the picture.
It didn't math for who Tally is.
I know that there was lack of time, but there's lack of time. It didn't have to be there. Not everything had to happen. Just saying. I don't know. I'm really tired.
Your thoughts are valid.
Your thoughts
Thanks.
and feelings are valid.
I was just like, I'm fine with them being together. I just want more of like a arc.
Build up?
I mean, I know that there would have been an arc if he didn't have the other show, and I'm proud of him for having the other show. It's just, I feel like it shouldn't have been that much. It could have been just like, you know what? I think I'm really starting to fall for this guy. Not, oh my god, this dude is my world.
Right. I agree. Like, it could have, like, set up the implication that there will be, like, development after this, but it was like the development happened and they're shoehorning, like, the end part in, you know, of, like, the development. Yeah. I feel you. It takes you out, like, believability-wise, because it's been, like, 12 hours.
All right, I'm going to stop talking because I know nothing's going to make sense.
But what's next?
Yeah, so this concludes our recaps of episode by episode of Motherland Fort Salem. But what does that mean for Big Witch Energy Podcast? Who wants to explain? I can if you guys want.
We have a lot of content that we have coming up. We have interviews still scheduled. We have interviews that aren't out yet. You're going to see them eventually.
With Motherland cast and crew.
And I know you're going to enjoy them because these are amazing people and we love them. So
we do.
We also are going to film a Motherland discussion episode with some of our friends from the fandom who you might know.
Oh, frick.
Caitlin's ditching us.
Caitlin's leaving. No. So we're excited about that. And we hope you guys will enjoy hearing from them. They're people that you, like I said, you probably will know, at least some of them. And then we're going to transition into big gay energy so we can expand our coverage from just one show to other LGBTQIA shows.
This was my goal since I started.
She has been planning our takeover of the world.
Pinky and the Brain came up with the name.
And we're going to interview other creators and people, actors and things of that nature, hopefully, that worked on other projects. So hopefully you will take that journey with us as well.
Yeah, so we'll be changing the format a little bit, but keeping the essence of what Big Witch Energy always was, and that's highlighting projects with good representation from a queer perspective and talking a little bit about it. And also, Caitlin is going to be more heavily featured in these episodes, which we're super excited about. So, I mean, if you guys have any media or things you're passionate about that you want us to cover or you think would be fun, like, let us know.
As always, we love hearing from you. Tell us. We do.
So we're not going anywhere. We're not ditching Motherland.
We will always hydrate for Lesbian Jesus.
Yes, we will always hydrate for Lesbian Jesus.
We will be hydrating for Lesbian Jesus 100% in every episode.
Don't think that we're just like leaving Motherland behind, leaving. If by some miracle it did get picked up or get something else, books, like a series, movie, or whatever,
we'll be back.
We would definitely cover it and relish doing it because these characters brought us together. This story brought us together, and it'll always hold a special place for all of us.
Exactly.
I have an announcement.
Da-da-da.
We will have a store available in the next week or two. Depending on how fast I can. Yeah. You can get your own Hydrate for Lesbian Jesus mug and a bunch of other designs that there's a lot. And there's still more coming.
Yeah. So we'll share and you guys can check it out and, hopefully you like what we got in our store.
Hopefully. Yeah. I'm excited to see what everyone thinks.
I'm super excited. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for joining us on this journey. Hopefully you keep coming along with us when we transition into new kind of content. It has been an honor and a pleasure to cover this show and get to know all of you all. So thank you.
Don't make me cry again. I am still
problem.
mourning my show.
We will be taking
love you all.
Slight break so Bree can properly mourn.
Yes.
I will not be taking a break. I am currently showing someone else the show, and we are shooting reaction videos.
So we'll also have
Which
that
I'm
as part of our
excited
content.
So we love you all.
It's going to be a fun time.
Guys, we need to sign off. Come on,
We're
we can do it.
Yes. Okay.
Bye.
I love you. Goodbye.
Bye. And with that, we've been Big Witch Energy. If you like this episode, check out all of our other episodes right here on YouTube. Please like, comment below, and subscribe for more amazing content. Hydrate for Lesbian Jesus.